So today I want to show you two different RemNote workflows, one of which is using flashcards and another of which is not using flashcards. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to show you how RemNote can be used as just a traditional knowledge base. The first workflow I want to show you is how I translate my English into French, and also how I create portals to quickly transfer new words from these translations into my workspace. The next workflow is going to be how I use the new Alias feature to create timelines. This new Alias feature is with the Pro plan, and RemNote does have plans now, so I would take a look at that, and a lot of what I'm going to talk about here are in that Pro plan. At the end of the video, I'll talk about those plans and also my thoughts on them. And yeah, let's just get right into it. The first thing I want to show you is how to quickly navigate to another page, and that's with Command O. I'm going to go down to my main page and show you around. So the first link is my word bank. Like I said in the beginning of the video, this is where I throw in all of my French words. No real organization here, I'll show you. It's just a long list of words. What we have here is just the French word and then the English word on the back, and I have a tag for what kind of word it is: an adverb, a verb, an adjective, a noun. Going back to my main page, you'll notice that I have this portal here. You can see all these French word types, and where I'm grabbing this from is a page called Automatically Add Template. So this is where I keep most of my main tags, whether they're templates or not. To make a portal, this is what you're gonna do. So one way you could do this is I could search for that page by doing open bracket twice. So this symbol twice. And I'm just gonna look for Automatically Add Template. And then I click through and I can insert into document or just simply go Command click, and the portal will be made. What I can also do that's a little bit easier is I can come down to this add a portal to an existing rems search portal right down here at the bottom and just search for it down here. And it will also appear wherever my cursor was. Now within this portal, you'll notice that there's these hashtags on the side. So these are nice because these will let me know all of the instances where I use French verb. So every single time I've used this hashtag, if I go to add a search portal listing of these results, nested inside of French verb, I will have every French verb. Now, if I want to narrow this search down a bit more, you'll see that I have word bank. This is what I want to see. I just want to see every instance of French verbs within word bank, and that's it. I don't want to see everything up here. To do that, I'm gonna go isDescendant, and I'm just gonna search for the page word bank. So just instances of French verbs in word bank will appear. So the next thing I want to show you is how I go about my French translation workflow. What I like to do is, about every other blog post that I write, within the introductory paragraph, I want to take a sentence or two out of it and just try to translate it. I don't always get it right. I sometimes have to use a translator for certain words, but this is how I practice. So if I look at one example, I have my sentence in French, and you'll see some linked out words. That's because some of these words are coming from my word bank. So when I go to highlight a word, I can find that word elsewhere in my workspace. If I go to click on it, it will create a portal. What I can also do is create an inline link. So if I do the same thing here and highlight the word, I can go to make rem reference, click that, and then click the word, and it will create this. But you'll see that it has la before this word, which is not the case in this sentence. So what I'm going to do is click it. If you go to add alias or press enter, I'll be able to create an alias for this word that is what the word was before. Now, if I click through to this new rem link, you'll see that it's linked to that original word in the word bank and created this alias for the word we just made. Now, below this, I have a new word section. So when I go to translate and I have words that are not in my word bank that I need to add, I don't necessarily add them to my word bank. I just add them in general as rems because they will all go to my spaced repetition flashcard queue. So we're going to do this from scratch so you know how this works. Let's just go back to the video test page And look at this example here. So in this sentence, there are a few words that I already have. I already know right here, dashboard is definitely a word I've used before. What I'm gonna do is link it out. So I could press this make rem reference or just press that open bracket once. It'll do the same thing, and just press enter. Let's look at another word that I don't have, like this one here. So what I'm gonna do is, again, open bracket once, create this rem, and I'm gonna go hashtag French sentence. Now this is a template, so it's gonna give me that new word slot automatically. So if you're unaware of how this works, it's pretty simple. I have a video on it, but I'm gonna show you really quick right here. So let's say my example hashtag is parent rem. What I'm gonna do is after this title, I'm gonna go hashtag twice, and I'm gonna say automatically add template. Now what I wanna do is the child of that rem, I want it to be called new words. And I want this to appear automatically whenever I use this hashtag. So what I'm gonna do is go /slot, S-L-O-T, turn into a slot. You'll see this little weird rectangle appear when it's active. And I write some notes, and I wanna give it the hashtag parent rem. You'll see that that new words populates. So within new words, I wanna plug that new word inside of a portal. So I'm gonna go /portal, or I could say Command Shift Enter. Now I want to tab this under new words, so I'm just pressing the up button and tabbing over. So now I'm gonna search for that new word within this portal, which is up here. Click it, and I'm gonna give it a translation, which is some or few. And it's also an adjective, so I'm gonna go hashtag French adjective. So that's pretty much all I do. I press enter and another portal will be made. So this is kind of like a nested portal. Let's look at another word I don't have, this one here, and I'll do the same thing. Just create a new rem, go search for it down here. And this is advice as a noun. And I have the gender here. So now that I have these two made, what I can do when I'm done is turn this portal into an embedded queue. So what's nice about this, let me just go up here, and this is the 3 dots at the very top of the portal, turn into embedded queue, then go to switch to view mode. So this isn't getting mixed up with all of your other words. So just what I like to do is when I have brand new words, I just want to quickly test myself. And when I'm done, I can just switch back to edit mode. So here's another shortcut I actually want to show you, and I'll zoom out a little bit. If you go up to the title of the page and you do this shortcut, which is Command Shift Up, I believe you can also just do Command Up as well. Yes. If you want to shallowly open them, you can go Command Down. Now, if you want all of their children to appear, you go Command Shift Down. One more thing I want to show you. You'll notice that these tags are colored, and the ordinary tag you get in RemNote looks something like this. It is this light blue color. If I wanted to change this, actually this is a bad example. Let's do French verb. So if I want to change the color of French verb, what I can do is Command click, or just right click and go to insert into document. And then right next to this rem, just change the color, say, to green. And you'll notice that that tag turns green, and then I can just delete the portal. So most of these things I'm using inside of my timeline, which I'll show you right now. So here's kind of how it looks. First of all, up here, navigation. I'm doing the same thing we did before in that main page, where I'm creating portals. So creating portals to my timeline page, my atlas page, so places, so time, places, who's who, this is the people. And I'm using the alias feature to collect everything. So what I was able to do was every time I created a new year, I made sure it was an alias of timeline. And now I have all of the years in a row down a line. And I'm able to sort every one of these years by adding the tag automatically sort to my alias's parent rem. So I'm just going hashtag and finding automatically sort. This will sort everything A to Z 1 to 9. Also, like the French tags, you are able to click this link over here and create a search portal listing and just search for all of the events that are associated with this year. So whenever I find search results for a specific year, I can toggle down each toggle where I have the date, part of, where, who, and the event, and all of my notes below that. I have the same thing for Atlas, and I have the same thing for people, of course. So scrolling down, first I have the century, or more of the broader time period at the top, and this is in an H2 heading. And then below that I have the year, and then nested under the year, again the date. Part of is going to be the timeline this is part of, so generally this is leading to US Civil War. Where, and of course these countries are linked out to the Atlas as an alias. I have this portal here that's in relation to one of these locations, and then I have who, and then I have the event, the historical event, and then below that all of the notes about that event. And then I have best sources to learn about. Some of them I have source links to. And of course everything within the 17th century is between 1600 and 1699, which will all be nested underneath. So if I were to click through to this page, I would see everything within the 17th century by itself. What I've done is I created this link. This alias is just an arrow to the next broad century or time period, which is the 18th century. And then I have another arrow. Of course, there's an arrow going back to the 17th century and then another one going to the next era. So let's actually create one of these aliases. Let's say the next page is my video test page. I'm going to do open brackets twice, go to video test page, or testing workflows. And what I'm going to do is create an alias, again, clicking on the link, going to add alias or pressing enter. And I'm just going to create an arrow going forward. Press enter, and that's how I'm doing that. So before I show you how I create an event in this timeline from scratch, here's another way I use aliases. So this is a more traditional way, where I am abbreviating a longer word, like wounded in action. Let me actually zoom in a couple times so you can see better. This WO means wounded in action. If I shift click into another pane, I'll be able to see the wounded in action page. Again, if I click on this little link symbol and go to add a search portal listing, I'll be able to see every instance of someone wounded in action. So let's do an example of how I workflow this. So what I do is, let's say there's a new time period that is, /H2, first of all, heading 2, let's say 20th century. Then below this, I'm gonna have a year. The first thing I'm gonna do is go hashtag year, because this is a template. Automatically add template, year, and everything will populate. Now within year, I'm gonna go timeline. So open bracket to create a link, timeline. I'm gonna make sure it is timeline, click on timeline, create an alias, and let's say this is 1987. Create that alias, and I'm just going to make sure this rem is pink, because I like how it looks. And the date, let's say, is November, so 11. Let's say it's part of the timeline, the 80s. And where is Nevada? So this is a state, this is a place, so I'm just gonna go Atlas. Go to Atlas, and I'm going to add an alias called Nevada. So in who, I'm gonna go who's who. Go to that document up there, click on it, and create the alias, maybe someone, because I can't think of a name. And then I will write the name of the event. So in timeline, I should be able to see 1987 now. And it should be sorted accordingly. So if I go all the way down to the bottom, that's where it will be. Also, if I go to Atlas and I go down to N, Nevada should show up, which it does in 28. Now, if I want to create notes underneath of this event, I'm gonna go hashtag history. And I've compiled a bunch of slots underneath this rem. It's not a template, but the slots are there. There are 24 of them, which I can file through. I have things like formed when, argument against, argument for, causes for, claim, doesn't work if, evidence for. So these are sort of the universal descriptors that I use the most for something like this. So if I want to put something in like why this event is interesting, I can write why it's interesting. And maybe there's something else I want to put in here, like doesn't work if this, and so on. Now when I'm done, I just click out of this tag because I don't really need it there. And then underneath of here, if I want to do something like sources, best sources to learn about, I can nest under here something like a wiki link. So I actually use Text Expander for this, which is really useful. And I have a shortcut that is ;TWI. I can type out what I want to search for, and it will take me to a Wikipedia page. So let's say in this instance, I want to look up Nevada. It will automate a Wikipedia page that leads me to Nevada, which we can look at here. Here's how I'm able to create this drop-down menu. Again, let's say I'm throwing this template inside of another page, like my automatically add template page, and I'm going to call it history rem. Unlike that parent rem example at the beginning of the video, I am not going to add the hashtag automatically add template. However, all of the children below it, I am going to turn into slots. So child 1 / slot, child 2 / slot, and so on. Now I go back to my notes. Instead of history, let's put that example tag, history rem. Now, all of these unfilled slots will appear in this link over on the side here. Let me zoom in. 3 unfilled slots. When you open it up, that drop-down menu will give you those options to put underneath of this rem. So what happens if I need to put another date in here that is within the same year, 1987, but it maybe happened in December? What I'm gonna do is press enter and go back. So I'm gonna go Shift Tab. Tab is to go forward, Shift Tab is to go back. I'm gonna go right down under where date is, and I'm going to trigger hashtag date. So I'm finding this date here. And everything below date should appear. So how am I able to do this? Let's go into my template page and I'll show you. There is a tag next to year that is automatically add template. What I'm also doing in the date rem is adding an automatically add template as well. So in either scenario, if I add these 2 hashtags, all of the children below it will appear automatically. Then I just go and find date, make this yellow so I can see the break between dates easily, and just fill everything out like I did before. And of course, that history tag here, which has those 24 unfilled slots to pick through. So that's pretty much everything. So I understand the gripes people are having with the features missing in the free plan and the features in the pro plan, and that the pro plan kind of forces you to pay that $6 a month, which I want to talk about. So I want to talk about, is that $6 a month appropriate? That's pretty much how I like to look at this. And as a brand new user, if I saw this price point and I saw all of these features and I watched people using the program maybe on YouTube, I would go, oh, there's a lot of cool features here that aren't in other places. I'm going to pay that $6 a month. That's not that much money. It's appropriately priced for what you get. The value of this program, I think, is very, very high. My opinion, $6, good pricing point. I think actually it should be more 8 to 10, but 6 is good. I'm going to leave a Discord link down below so you can tell me what your opinions are and we can talk about it. I'll see you the rest of the week on Twitter, and I'll see you guys next time.